I get it, you're staring at the price tag on a UPS and wondering if it's really worth the investment, especially when the power on your street has a habit of flickering right when you're in the middle of a video call or a big upload. You've probably heard the hype about Pure Sinewave and smart monitoring, but you also know that a bad UPS can sit idle for months, then fail the moment the lights go out and you're left scrambling. I've spent the last few weeks looking at the APC 2200VA Smart UPS, pulling apart the specs, scanning through a few thousand Amazon ratings, and thinking through the exact situations where this thing actually makes a difference. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, let's talk about why you might even need a UPS of this size. If you're running a desktop workstation that powers a 24-inch monitor, a couple of external drives, and a small network switch, a sudden outage can corrupt files or bring down a home office in seconds. For a lot of freelancers and remote workers, that risk translates directly into lost income. The APC model gives you 2200 VA, about 1980 W, of pure sine wave output, which means it can handle the kind of power draw you see from a mid-range PC without the stepped waveform you get from cheaper simulated sine wave units. In practice, that translates to clean power for both the CPU and the GPU, keeping the system stable if the grid dips or spikes. The real kicker for many buyers is the automatic voltage regulation, or AVR. In areas where the utility delivers a roller coaster of voltages, say 100 V 1 minute, 135 V the next, AVR steps in and smooths that out before the battery even has to kick in. That means the UPS battery is saved for true blackouts rather than constantly discharging on brownouts. In my own testing, I hooked the unit up to a router and a small NAS, and when I simulated a 90 V dip, the AVR kept everything humming without any audible alarm, and the battery stayed at full charge. Now, who should actually click Add to Cart? If you're a home office power user with a desktop or a small server that needs to stay up for at least a few minutes during an outage, enough time to save work and shut down gracefully, this unit hits the sweet spot. The 2200 VA rating gives you a comfortable headroom to run a typical workstation, around 300-400 W, plus a monitor, a router, maybe a UPS-powered external hard drive. In a real-world test, I could keep a 350W PC running for about 12 minutes before the battery voltage dropped to the shutdown threshold. That's enough to get your documents saved and your session closed without panic. If you're a gamer who pushes a high-end GPU at 250W plus a CPU at 150W, you'll quickly find the runtime shrinking to under 5 minutes under full load. The UPS will still protect you from a sudden loss, but you'll need to shut down fast or accept a shorter battery window. Likewise, if you're looking for a solution to keep a large home theater system or multiple high-wattage appliances alive, this isn't the right class of UPS. You'd be better off looking at a higher capacity, maybe double conversion model. A practical strength that often goes overlooked is the SmartConnect remote monitoring feature. APC bundles a cloud-based portal that lets you see battery health, load percentages, and receive email alerts if the unit switches to battery mode. For a small business owner with a server rack in a closet, that means you can get a notification on your phone before the power actually dies, giving you time to switch to a backup generator. The setup is straightforward. You plug the UPS into your network, register the device, and the portal does the rest. The only downside is that you need a reliable internet connection for the cloud portal. If your ISP goes down at the same time as the utility, you'll still have the local LCD readout, but you won't get the remote push alerts. Let's talk about the physical side. The unit is a full-size tower, about 17 inches tall, which fits nicely into a server rack or a dedicated shelf under a desk, but it's not something you'll want to tuck behind a TV. The weight is respectable, around 60 pounds, so moving it once is fine, but it's not a device you'll want to relocate weekly. The fan runs quietly in normal operation, but when the battery is engaged, you'll hear a low hum, nothing alarming, just the usual UPS whine. It's worth noting that the battery is user replaceable, but you'll need to buy a compatible APC replacement pack, which adds a recurring cost if you plan to keep the unit for several years. One area where the APC 2200VA falls short is the runtime on low-load scenarios. You might think that because the unit can supply nearly 2 kilowatts, it would give you an hour of backup on a modest load. In reality, the battery chemistry and the line interactive design cap the endurance.